So if you look at COVID-19, it has impacted in two different ways. They are quite diverging. One is on the demand side, and other is on the supply side. When you look at demand, you are essentially seeing petrochemicals going into some of the essential items like packaging, consumer, non-durable. Then you're looking at agricultural and healthcare side of things. Those demand has done really well. Then you're looking at building and construction, agricultural side of things, as well as building construction and automotive side of things. That has really taken a big beating due to COVID-19. So now when you take these and then move it back to the supply side in the US, what has happened is uh, all the facilities that were dedicated to automotive construction have actually either shut down, rationalized, or they have transitioned their grade slates to more in-demand products in essential goods. So due to this, we have seen big sort of a churn out in the capacity side of things in the US. Another challenge from the capacity is we have multiple production in that has been delayed by a quarter at the minimum. Looking at Formosa, Sasol's, LDP facilities that has been delayed, which was slated for Q1, Q2 of 2020, is now looking at Q4 2020. Then we are also finding out more interesting aspect of the capacity delays, which is more towards the planning side of things. Due to uncertainty, investors are a lot more concerned about if they should build a new facility. Of course, the feedstock advantage in US is also a concern, but even if it stays, the uncertainty is very something that has been pushing the investor back in terms of starting up and planning the new facilities. So net, demand strong, which is pretty ironic given COVID situation, but it's also because 2019 was essentially a manufacturing recession in the US. And due to that, 2019 was a negative growth. So 2020 has actually shown a very strong growth. It's about more than 4% over 2019. And this 4% is actually 500 times more than last decade's average growth in US for polyethylene. So it's a particularly strong situation in US when the demand perspective, but supply is where we have seen a major impact, be it due to COVID or we'll talk about some of the impact of Hurricane Laura as well. So those are the major things that has really impacted the US markets. Okay, let's try to understand the US geography a little bit, especially the Gulf Coast. Gulf Coast starts from the south of Texas to southern east of Texas, essentially to, you're looking at southern west of Florida. That includes states like Texas, Louisiana, then you're looking at Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. Majority of the production in US is in Texas and Louisiana for polyethylene, polypropylene, or in fact, entire petrochemical business. Hurricane Laura hit at the state line of Louisiana and Texas. When we are looking at the facilities and major cities therein, you're looking at Orange, Texas, and Lake Charles, Louisiana. Those are the major cities that has significant petrochemical facilities. And most number of petrochemical facility is in Houston and vicinity area, followed by New Orleans, and you have also Orange area as well. So when you're looking at polyethylene facilities, about 6% of polyethylene production in the US is impacted. Now it looks like 6% only, but it is actually as big as the production capacity of Netherlands. And also in terms of polypropylene, it's 7% of polypropylene is impacted due to mostly Lake Charles area there, and that is actually as big as capacity of UK overall. So it's a big impact in a global scheme of things as well as for the US. In terms of grades, you're looking at Lake Charles is big in low density and linear low. We talked about how high demand low density and linear low are, especially in given circumstances for essential good items. So you're looking at significant impact, especially on low density linear low side. On a polypropylene side, Lake Charles also has a specialty polypropylene facility, and it impacts automotive side of things. And since it impacted the US market in Q3 when automotive markets are trying to come back, that has a major impact on polypropylene side of things as well. We don't see major impact on high density due to Hurricane Laura. So that's really a good in terms of a description of Hurricane Laura. Now, when we are looking at the price, it has it is pretty interesting to see that prices for low density and linear low are obviously impacted, and that was as prices are pretty global in nature. And if you know, China LDPE supply is constrained significantly due to challenges in Middle East to transport LDPE into China. So LDPE particular was pretty strong price-wise overall. And due to delays in Sasol and Formosa, as well as major impact of Hurricane Laura, West Lake's facilities are in Lake Charles, and that's a significant capacity for the North America. So there has been a significant constraint in low density prices. And you can see the spread between low density and linear low has actually gone up in Asia, more than $200 a ton. It's now coming down gradually, but it is pretty high on that perspective. So that's really has strengthened the low density side of things. Overall, polyethylene prices as well is pretty strong, and not just in domestic side, but also in the export side. As producers in North America try to focus more of their production into domestic markets, they are not getting into export market unless they get a good price for it, and that's why you see the export prices from North America has gone up as well. There are two impact, right? So one is more towards COVID-19, and another is Laura. So let's talk about COVID-19 first. So COVID-19 is a little bit more structural in a way that the demand that was we have seen new demand, be it e-commerce or delivery at home, restaurants, food that is coming in. All of them uses packaging. Polyethylenes and polypropylenes are used significantly in those secondary packaging, as you would say. So of the new demand that we are seeing, some of those are definitely stockpiling, but some of these are here to stay. They are structural demand improvement as more and more individuals and companies go more digital. We are seeing a lot more usage of online delivery and things like that. So that's there will be structural demand, and we expect as much as 30 to 50% of this demand is going to be more structural in nature, the demand increase due to Hurricane Laura, and not just in US. We see this trend around the world. That's the important aspect when it comes to the demand side of things. There now, Hurricane Laura impact is more shorter term in a way that it is more supply focused than demand focused. And the constraint in supply right now is more towards the power outage in the Lake Charles area and the restoration of that. And also due to abrupt power outages, it can impact bunch of lots of equipments. So all this testing is being conducted in a lot more detailed manner at this stage. As at this moment, we are assessing that mid-October is when we will see the production sort of ramping up to the normal operating rates. And it's actually not just mid-October, but you are when we are trying to put the market and to get a global relief on the polyethylene side, it will not be until mid of November because they have to replenish their inventories essentially in order to get to that level. In order to get to the average levels. So we are seeing the prices will continue to be strong until mid-November for all grades of polyethylene and polypropylene as well. December is a time when when the producers try to clear the inventories, and that's when we will see there will be some relief in terms of in December timeframe on the prices perspective. This is mostly local U.S. prices. When you are looking at international prices, it will depend a lot more on the oil prices. And also in the international side of things, you are looking at Asia, for example, is starting out about 3 to 4 polypropylene facilities. So that will pressure the prices in the polypropylene side. And there are some facilities coming up in polyethylene, but that sort of coincides with the agricultural film seasonal demand in China. So polyethylene on a relative basis will stay stronger, especially film, LDP and LLDP side of things, versus polypropylene in terms of prices.